Welcome to our educational channel dedicated to providing insightful content for curious minds. Our target audience includes students, lifelong learners, and anyone eager to expand their knowledge. Topics covered range from science and history to technology and art, ensuring there's something for everyone. New videos are scheduled every week, guaranteeing fresh and engaging content on a regular basis. We take pride in delivering high-quality content with top-notch production value to enhance your viewing experience. With a rich history of creating informative videos, we strive to be your go-to source for educational content. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. Stay tuned for exciting upcoming videos and series that will leave you wanting more. We value your feedback and suggestions, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. For inquiries or collaboration opportunities, please reach out to us through the contact information provided in the description. Join us now on this educational journey and watch our latest video to start exploring new horizons.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Education Platform. Now, before we begin with the lessons I have for you today, I just want to wish all of you Happy Black History Month. This is the month where we celebrate all the Black people that made a difference in society. Now, the verse I'm going to be reading to you today is taken from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 6 to 7, and it states that love does not delight in evil, but rejoice with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. The word of the Lord. Amen. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about two Black people for Black History Month. The first person I'm going to be talking to you about for Black History Month is other than known as Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison was an American novelist and editor. She was also awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993. In fact, the first novel she's ever published and named was The Bluest Eye. It could be found on many sites, and it can also be found all over the internet. You can even do research to find different versions of it in many different kinds of websites based on books and much more. Our next Black person we're going to be talking to you about for Black History Month is none other than Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman was an African American civil aviator and was the first African American woman to obtain a pilot license when she moved to Paris, France. She also studied at Langston University in Oklahoma, and which was founded in 1897. Now, our next lesson is about the meaning of democracy. It's the principles, practice, and global perspectives. Our agenda for today is the foundations and principles of democracy, the types and models of democratic systems, challenges and criticisms of democracy, the future of democracy in a changing world. The foundational principles of democracy. The democracy, that definition and core values. It's a system of where power rests with the people directly for representatives. such as voting for a president. Also, for political equality, each citizen holds equal political rights and also an equal voice, meaning that every person has the right to speak. Popular sovereignty means the authority that comes from the people. For the freedom of expression, it shares ideas, but it also shares the debate policy and also for critical leaders. For the protection of human rights, it's based on dignity, liberties, but also the due process for all people in society. The historical origins. In the 5th century BCE, many male citizens were debated and voted in popular assemblies. And for one of the amendments, every man has the right to vote. Also, for social contract and rights, John Locke argued that legitimate authority arises from the consent of the governed, but it also exists in the rights of liberty, life, and property. For the separation of powers, it's the institutional, the Montesquieu proposed, checks that prevent the concentration and the abusing of power. From practice to principles, it's also for shaping modern democracy, grounded in rights, for consent and balanced institutions. For the key features, all the key features are participation, equality, rule of law, legitimacy, and stability. For participation, active citizen involvement, meaning that every American citizen needs to be involved in such as elections, also when it comes to democracy, it's very essential. It also ensures that the government reflects the will of the people. For equality, meaning for political equality, it means that every individual has the equal right to vote and also has the right to speak, but also reinforcing fairness and also for decision making. For the rule of law, it's the laws that apply to equality, including the leaders, but this principle upholds justice but prevents the abuse of power. For legitimacy, it protects minorities, but it also creates a stable society. The types and models of democratic systems. It consists of scale, citizen participation, efficiency, and examples. For scale, is the direct democracy that works best in small communities, but for representative democracy, it's suited for large complex societies. For citizen participation, it also allows citizens to vote on every issue, but it also gives the rights to vote on not just on new laws, but also when it comes to presidential elections or any other elections that are related to society. For efficiency, it can be slow for large populations, but it's also based on decision making for delegated authority. Examples based on this are town hall meetings, but also parliaments, Congress, and city councils. For presidential, parliamentary, and hybrid. For presidential, meaning separates executive and legislative power, meaning the president is independently elected, meaning that the president is elected based on popular sovereignty, but also elected by voting. For parliamentary, it fuses executive and legislative power, but it also gives executive orders, which derives authority from and is typically drawn from the legislator, such as with prime ministers. The hybrid combines the elements of presidential and parliamentary designs. It's also shared between a directly elected president to a premier responsible to parliament. The comparative examples worldwide. The Scandinavian participation, it's a higher vote turnout and social equality. It also reinforces trust and inclusive governance. For U.S. constitutional emphasis, it has individual rights, but it also robust checks and balances. It also shapes the policy and participation. Emerging democracies, such as African and Asian, it causes to work and consolidate institutions, but it also for curb corruption. The challenges and criticisms of democracy. The, about 180 countries are ranked annually on the Corruption Perceptions Index. When it means by annually, it means each year. For the debates on effectiveness and representation, it consists of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. For strengths, it consists of fostering legitimacy, also responsiveness of citizens, and also public trust on elections and transparency. For weaknesses, it consists of lobbying, media manipulation, unequal campaign finance, fair representation, and skewed policy outcomes. The opportunities they have are electoral systems, campaign finance, civic education, and enhances inclusivity, and can also strengthen the democratic process. The threats such as rising polarization, but also menace formation and external interference that's threatened the stability and effectiveness of democratic institutions. For the response, which strengthens the democratic systems, it consists of electoral inclusivity, integrity and transparency, digital literacy, and rule of law safeguards, and lastly, proven impact. The future of democracy in a changing world. Globalization and technological impact, such as cross-border collaboration, which links democracies to international norms and partnerships. Technology reshapes politics, such as transforming campaigns, engagement, information flows, accelerating outreach, micro-targeting, and so much more. For privacy, surveillance, and manipulation, it risks to civil liberties, public trust, but also for the demanding of safeguards transparencies and adaptive democratic override. For the emerging threats and opportunities, such as authoritarian resurgence, cyber threats, digital engagement, but also youth activism. For authoritarians, meaning challenges of democratic norms, undermining institutions, and all civil liberties worldwide. For cyber threats, it's targeting the election infrastructure. For digital engagement, it consists of inclusive civic participation and enhanced government transparency. For youth activism, it energizes the democratic participation, also fostering innovation and resilience in democratic societies. The vision for the 21st century democracy, such as the evolving path, and also the democracy's enduring promise, such as core principles, diverse systems, adaptation and technology, and lastly, vigilance and innovation. And that's the end of democracy, meaning it plays a very important role in society. Now, our last lesson we're going to be having for you today is the difference between Democrats and Republicans. What are the differences and what is the impact? How does the party contrast the shape, policy, and governance? The agenda consists of historical origins, core ideologies, party structure, leadership, voter demographics, influence, and lastly, contemporary U.S. politics. Historical origins and development. The formation of the evolution of the Democratic Party, it emerged as the oldest active U.S. party. It also has interests and state rights to the 20th century progressive social policy, and also plays a very large role. It expands support among urban workers, African Americans, and intellectuals that reshape party base. For the Republican Party, it forms as an anti-slavery party opposing to the Kansas-Nebraska Act, but it also is also the champion for preservation and the abolishment of slavery, which was Abraham Lincoln's election in 1860. It also consists of free market capitalism, limited government, but also strong national defense. It's also a greater emphasis on conversationism, but also for states' rights. The major historical milestones for both parties are number one, the New Deal, the democratic policy that boundaries its water coalition. Number two, Civil Rights Act. Democratic split triggered Southern renamement across decades. Number three, Reagan Revolution. The conservative Republican dominions and policy direction. Number four, the post 9/11 policies, which reshape platforms and voter alignments. Ideologies and policy positions. It consists of social equality, environmental protection, healthcare access, and economic policy. For social equality, it promotes equal rights and opportunities for all. For environmental protection, it consists for strong environmental policies, but also sustains practices to combat climate change. For healthcare, it expands the access through government programs and reforms. But for the economic policy, it consists of the intervention to reduce economic disparities and labor support in unions. For the Republican principles and values, such as limited government, free market economics, individual liberties, strong national defense, lowered taxes, deregulation, and core base. Party structure and leadership. The organizational structure and decision-making, the committees, leadership, and grassroots dynamics. It's also national committees that both parties operate national committees such as the DNC and the RNC. For decentralizing decision-making, it means the reflecting variety regional interests within the border national framework. For leadership roles, it consists of chairs, but also for national committee members and elected officials shape platforms and strategies. Experience with electoral considerations. For the influential leaders and figures such as JFK, John F. Kennedy, also Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Abraham Lincoln, Ronald Reagan, and so on and so forth. For the role of the party platforms, it's signaling values to voters and shaping media narratives. Their platforms may be aspirational, they impact voter expectations, but they also frame political debate and nationally and locally. Electoral strategies and voter demographics. It consists of the approaches of Democrats, such as coalition building, data targeting, and voter turnout. For Republicans, it's base mobilization and same data and targeting and the same voter turnout. About 68% of urban voters supported Democrats in the last national election. For the impacts such as number one, the cable and direct mail, number two, web and micro targeting, number three, social analytics, and number four, misinformation and AI. Influence on contemporary U.S. politics. The accomplishments and controversies, such as for the Democratic Party, such as the Affordable Care Act, Civil Rights Act, and also major safety net expansions. For the Republicans' accomplishments, such as tax reform, deregulation, and conservative judicial appointments. For the controversies for the Democrats, such as healthcare mandates, immigration policies, and government spending. The controversies for the Republicans, such as restrictions, healthcare, rebel efforts, and partition judicial confirmations. For the debates and polarization in modern politics, such as the drivers of polarization, effects on governance, and electoral dynamics. For the future outlook for both parties, they sustain a diverse coalition amid generational and ideological shifts, but they also reconcile conservatism, but also with populist impulses, but also adapting to change in demographics and also in digital disruption. Before I end this live stream, make sure to join us on our website on educationplatform.site. You can scan the QR code or paste the link into the search engine to know more. And always remember, always have God by your side in any situation, for God is the one who can help in times of need. And always pray and read the Bible. Always stay connected to us as we are also. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, but also hit the notification bell to be notified about our latest updates. I hope you all have a wonderful day.